Our next presentation is a tandem presentation from Dassault Systems, our sponsor for this afternoon of the Designer Cafe, both from the CATIA team. First, Phil Bouchard is currently responsible for Dassault Systems' new business development for the CATIA for shape and styling domain in North America. This includes CATIA's creative design and rendering software for taking design from concept to reality, CATIA ISOM for advanced surface development, and innovative design processes to include validation as part of an optimized workflow. Phil has been an entrepreneur within the design marketplace for over 25 years. He founded a CATIA education firm in 1985 called FAB, Pessica Bouchard Consulting, which eventually became InCAD, which I personally have some experience with, as one of the largest independent resellers of IBM and Dassault CATIA in the world at the time. He joined Dassault Systems through ISOM Technologies and has been leading the North American business in this sector since 2008. Joining him will be Randy Richardson for Body in Black Advanced Composites Innovation. Randy Richardson is Director of Business Development on the same CATIA team, but for composites for North America. She has specialized in advanced composites and sheet metal and manufacturing design for 15 years. Prior to that, worked at Majestic Systems, part of the Dassault Technology Partner family, specializing in digital manufacturing and production solutions. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome Mr. Phil Bouchard and Ms. Randy Richardson.
Well, thank you, Paul, for that nice introduction, which I wrote, of course. So, anyway, if any of you were at our winter event in January at the top of the Rensen, I talked about the American car business being back. And if you saw that, if you just saw that presentation from Bob, you can see that we're back. And it's all credit to all of you in the audience who are car designers, who are car engineers, who are management, who are in the car business, the auto business, that you stuck with it during the valley, and now we're riding the roller coaster up to the peak. So I want to congratulate all of you for staying with it and for just designing great cars. And this is what I said at our winter show, is that the press is usually the last people to know these things. But it's on the cover of Time magazine from January that how America got started selling cars again. We never forgot how. It just the market changed, and we're now the new growth engine for the American economy. And I'm proud to say that Dassault Systems and our CATIA brand in particular is a part of that and has been a part of the industry for 30 years. And it just so happens that the North American Truck of the Year, the Land Rover Evoque, was designed using CATIA. And the North American Car of the Year, the Hyundai Elantra, also designed using CATIA. So, and of course our first speaker from Tata, they actually own Land Rover now. So you can see that it's been a pleasure for us and an honor for the Dassault Systems product line, and specifically CATIA, to serve your industry and to serve all of you for these many years. So thank you also on behalf of Dassault for being a customer of Dassault, because I know a lot of you are customers of ours, so we do appreciate it. Well, we can't sit still. As Bob said, we've got to keep innovating. We've got to keep designing new and fresh cars. And we've got to continue to bring fresh ideas to the market. And Dassault Systems is not sitting still. We're doing it with our technology. We're continuing to innovate. And our presentations today, Randy's and mine, will talk about some of the newer innovations of what we have to offer for the design and the engineering community in the automotive sector. Linus Pauling says the best way to have a good idea is to have lots of ideas. And if you're in design and you see all these ideas on the idea boards around this room, you know that that applies to design as well as any kind of science. Dr. Linus Pauling was a 2-time Nobel Prize winner, both for physics and for peace. He also was a Peace Prize winner. This is back in the days when scientists actually tried to make a more peaceful world. So I think that's some nice inspiration, and I think we all know this is true. And Dassault Systems is it will offer you ways that you can collect, store, and retrieve your new ideas and your old ideas and keep getting fresh ideas. A little more topical, perhaps, is Steve Jobs, who says creativity is just connecting things. You ask a creative person, and I know a lot of you guys are this way, how'd you come up with this? You almost get sheepish or feel a little guilty and say they really didn't really do it. They just saw something. It seemed obvious after a while because they're able to connect experiences and synthesize new things. And again, in design, I think you guys do this. You know, you go to a furniture show and you get ideas for cars. You go to a fashion show and you get ideas for fabrics. You look at nature and you see a shape that you like and you try to incorporate it in a car. Or you see your instrument panel with a design and you say, hey, I'll flip that design upside down and solve an engineering problem. So I think that we see these people doing these things, and of course, Apple has created a tremendous design innovation in their iPhone and iPad product line that is revolutionizing the world. And that's the challenge that we all have as auto designers, is keep changing, keep modifying, keep innovating. And again, I'm going to show you today what Dassault Systems has to offer you around CATIA for creative design to help you do that. We serve both the transportation business and the product design business. We're going to focus today, of course, on cars, on automobiles, but we do have offerings and serve both. And our goal is to give you a competitive advantage or a creativity advantage when you're trying to design or when you're designing. So we want to boost your creativity and your innovation quotient, if you will, and at the same time offer you tools that can help you convince management and convince your customers of your ideas. So having great ideas is one thing, but you got to sell them. I think Bob also talked about selling his ideas. What of the design of the interior kind of sold the car. So convincing people is important too. You've got to collaborate. We had questions from the audience this morning about engineers and designers collaborating. Somebody asked a question about, do you let your designers change the Class A surface? And of course, the answer was no, never. We would never let an engineer change a Class A surface. But still, they have to collaborate, right? I mean, the engineers and the designers have to collaborate because both are important to making a beautiful car that works and a quality car. So these tools will also help you achieve the kind of perceived quality that, again, Bob was talking about in his presentations, where the lines and the themes and the forms and the shapes and the colors are all brought together in a way that gives the customer the feeling of quality, right down to the rivet used to rivet the plate on the engine, you know, inside the engine thing. So those details are important, and we help you to see what that looks like. So I'm going to take you through a few of our newest solutions. So these are our strategies first, a unified design workflow. So again, we all work together. Engineers and designers have to work together in a unified workflow to get the job done. So from ideation to concept to surface refinement to final validation with nice images, this is all part of a unified workflow that if you're all in the same solution, and this is what the Dassault brand and CATIA has brought to the market and continues to bring to the market, is a unified product set that lets you do all of this on the same math platform, on the same technology platform to streamline your operation. We also want the creative designer to have access to 3D. Here's an example of a designer sketching on an existing car model. So we also want to help you design like you think. We want design like you think. You think, hey, I want to change the roof line. What if I made the roof line a little taller? What if I made the roof line a little shorter? So this is how we think as designers, and these are the kinds of tools that we want to let you do it intuitively. What if I just kind of pull this up a little bit more? And you see sketching tools. My colleague Andre Clemens, my partner in the business, has been demonstrating for you guys our sketching tools, and he can give you a better hand. You can try it. I saw some of the people here in the audience were over there sketching. So it's very easy to use, very easy to learn, so give it a try. So we want to make that accessible for 3D designers. We've got to streamline this engineering and design collaboration. And we have, you may have seen these kinds of charts before showing what we call flow ruptures. Do I have a pointer here? These flow ruptures, when you design and then you pass it over to engineering, then you design some more, and a lot of work gets lost in the translation when you pass off. So when people are using the same tools and more fluid, you get a more efficient design process that gets the product to market faster. But perhaps more importantly, we've found that people that use this integrated approach get a better quality product. Because the product is better designed, you have fewer problems down the road. Because engineering and design are working together, you still get the visual, you still get the design style that you're looking for, but you also get a better engineered product by better collaboration. And in today's world, everybody's working globally. If you don't have a design center in another part of the world, you certainly have one in another part of the city, because you've got suppliers all around the United States, or certainly around the Detroit area. And I like to say that we offer the ability to collaborate and stay connected, whether it's across the hall or across the globe. So these are tools. And you saw some of that demonstrated this morning. This morning in the Tata presentation, he showed an engineer and a designer, I think, collaborating and working together. So you've already seen this stuff, so I'm not going to show you all that stuff again. This is our end-to-end workflow in a little more detail. And we've added what I'm calling our community or our social networking approach. So when you're looking to get inspiration, when you're looking to get creative, one way to get creative is to connect with other people. And I don't know if you've experienced this, but I know that I have personally, that when you're trying to solve a problem, sometimes you just sit down with a couple of people with a whiteboard and you start sketching things out and come up with ideas, how to solve problems, or how you come up with fresh ideas just by working together. And again, I think this is part of the design process, is this collaboration. So we offer tools for people to be networked together in a structured way. You can think of it as Facebook for engineers and designers. It's called our 3D Swim solution, or our 3D Swim offering. Again, I'm not going to really demonstrate it much today. We're going to stay on the tools. But this is one of the ways that we're offering innovative ideas for you to stay creative and stay innovative, so that you can connect up with colleagues from around the world, colleagues from other companies, colleagues from professional associations you might belong to, different places where you can get ideas, share your ideas, and find out if people can add on to what you're doing. We already talked about sketching, and we've got the sketching tools being demonstrated by Andre and Paul. We've got a very, very fast conceptual modeling tool that can let you get your models designed very, very fast when you're in the early stages of design. Very detailed modeling tools, those are our Class A tools, ISOM in particular, and then visualization to visualize your designs. And again, it's all on the same platform. I think we're demonstrating our rendering. Live rendering is running in the back of the room also. So a couple of these pieces are there on the workstations. Again, designing a car has a lot of parts to it. So we just picked a couple of the highlights that are most useful in design. And you can play with them. You can try them out while you're here. So I'm going to give you a little overview of the sketching tool. There's a little teaser for you. We just introduced this about a year ago. And you start with a sketch. All start with sketches. So this is where you get your first inspiration. It's the first time you take your 2D idea, the idea in your head, and you start to get it on paper or on a Wacom tablet or a Cintiq tablet, and start sketching. But what we've offered is the chance to start to sketch on 3D surfaces. So I'll show you. Let's show you a little demo here. Notice we also have a new user interface. So we've created a brand new user interface for those of you that are longtime CATIA users. I thank you for your continuous input to make the user interface easier. So we've been listening, and we've started to create a new form of a user interface. It's more intuitive, that you can see it from icons, pencils, erasers, showing planes, just to make it a little bit easier and simpler for you to be a casual user. So we've got shape recognition. I think we just drew a line, we drew some circles, and we've got a feature that will snap those to a geometric shape. If you turn that feature on, like any CAD system, we can duplicate things. We can sketch either in raster mode, which gives you like a pixelated view, or we can sketch in a math mode, where you have an actual NURBS curve. So you can either have a raster curve or a true vector curve. So when you're just sketching, you're just kind of letting the pencil flow over the paper, if you will. This would be like a raster. This is a raster approach. But when you want to switch over to a vector curve, you can do that so that your curve is a fully defined math curve. Or like some of our customers tell us, my curve lives. So your curve can actually live in 3D space. You don't have to have it on a 2D sketch and then try to recreate it and hope it gets right. It actually lives. So we've come up with a profile here. You can also change the thickness and the opacity of the lines so that you can, in essence, shade the image, again, as part of the sketching tool. So we're changing a few of these things around as we're sketching. You can also bring other elements into the model. In this case, he's brought a sketch of a wheel into the sketching space. So he's got, in this case, a feature or a sketch element that he wants to combine with his freeform sketching. So you can combine different elements together. Again, notice the simple menu structure here. The main pop-down menu only has 6 or 8 items on it. There is some other embedded things, but it's very simple, straightforward. So you're sketching on a plane, and of course you want to design your car around the human, around your customer, around your consumer. So we can bring in models of anatomical humans, and we have a solution for that also within Dassault Systems. So that mannequin that might have been used for reach studies kind of in an engineering environment, we've adapted for use in design so that you can use it visually as well as geometrically. And here you see the vector curve that I was talking about earlier. So you actually can start with this sketch curve and you can modify it and move it because it's a true vector curve. Normally these videos are sped up. This guy's going slow. He's thinking a little bit. Oh, there we go. There, we skipped over all the intermediate steps. So again, just so you get it, again, we're showing you some samples and then showing you a little more of a finished product here. But you see some other sketched wheels have been brought in. Some more curves have been built around the rest of the vehicle shape and form. So the other thing that's nice about this CATIA application, of course, is that all of the rest of CATIA is all available inside the same interface. So here now we're going to bring in a very simple surfacing tool, which of course many of you have been using CATIA for years. You know we've got tons of surfacing tools. So those same surfacing tools that you're used to using for very complex design can be used in a very simple form here to just sort of slab in a shape. And you can see that the rendering, full-scale rendering is turned on here. So you see you can see it with the image reflected in the shape, so that you can sort of see and feel the shape of it as you're designing it. And you can push and pull on that surface the same way as you saw us pushing and pulling on the curve, which again is the way that you might design in ISOM, which is the way you might design in a Class A environment. So we've offered some very simple surfacing options. So basically took our full CATIA palette and brought it down to some simple things that you can actually customize and give your creative designers as much or as little surfacing tools as they may need or you may think they can handle. Each organization is going to be a little different, but we've started to give our sketching people, our sketching customers, a simplified set of tools that meets the kinds of requirements that they have, which is to get a basic shape put into the vehicle. So as you get more shape defined, so again, we've skipped a few steps here. Now our designers created a full shape for the exterior skin. You can also draw on those surfaces. So again, typical application might be the development of your rear tail lamps. So you've got a shape for your rear fascia or your rear treatment, and you want to start to sketch some ideas of what your tail lamps might look like. So you can sketch on a surface and basically build the geometry right on the target surface. So you see as he moves the model around, again, here he's got a little thicker line turned on, so it gives you almost like a paintbrush effect. But you see as you move the model around, those curves actually sit right on those surfaces. Again, design like you think. This is the way you would think as a designer, right? You'd have a surface and you want to kind of sketch over the top of it. You saw a picture of Dov Gafka taping a clay, right? This isn't exactly taping a clay, but again, it's like designers design. We design this to be natural, to be the way that people work. So, I think that's the end. So again, Andre, I think you guys maybe saw Andre back at the workstation. He's more than happy. We're going to be here with our sketching tools for all the rest of the day and all into tonight. I think we're going to be here all night, aren't we? How long are we going to be here until about 1 in the morning or something? I don't know. I think the sketches are going to get better as the night goes on. So we'll be here, and the idea was to let you play. Go on over if you're a sketcher, you feel confident, you want to jump on, just jump on and try out our tools. That's why we call it the Designer Cafe. Just relax, chill out, and try it out. We got the rendering tool running if you want to see rendering. Here, I'll get to the rendering in a minute. So anyway, thanks, Andre, for being here and for being willing to come out and sketch it till 11 or 12 o'clock at night. So here's some comments from designers on our natural sketch tool. This says it enables them to get their ideas on paper faster, easier than a pen on paper. You think, you screen. So you see some examples. You get inspired while creating 3D as you're sketching at the same time. So again, it's part of this creative process. It's playtime, it's sketch time, it's lots of ideas. Natural sketch gives me the reason to sketch again. It's more than a sketch, it's a communication tool. I happened to be at one of our training sessions when we got that quote from a designer for Procter & Gamble who was so excited that this sketching tool was going to let him get back to what he learned in school because he hadn't had a chance to do it. He's been off doing project management. So these tools can be inspirational too. And if it sparks your creativity as a designer, it can help you get back to your roots or get back to what you love to do, which is create. Okay, so we covered ideation and creativity, let's say, our first block over here, a little bit with our sketching tool. Let me just talk a little bit about our modeling tools, our conceptual modeling and detail modeling tools. So we have this unified modeling environment, and our goal, and I think we're achieving this goal, is to provide you the best combination of precision, flexibility, and power. So the flexibility would be for our Imagine and Shape, or our sketching, our early conceptual modeling tool, uses subdivision surfaces. Again, a little techie term, but we'll show you a demo of it. It's one of the latest technologies. We have an underlying NURB surface underneath it so that you get a fully defined surface after you're done with your flexible, quick, very, very fast surfacing tool. The precision that comes with Class A surfacing is really contained in our ISOM tool, which is now we call CATIA ISOM, because we've fully embedded our ISOM tool inside of CATIA, so it's in the exact same user interface. And we still have all the power that you're used to seeing in CATIA, with the GSDs and the parametrics and all the feature-based things that you've done for years is all still there too. So you have this combination to create pleasing shapes and colors that you want, but be able to collaborate with engineering. So I'm just going to show you one example, again, along the theme of design like you think. This is our Imagine and Shape tool, our new conceptual modeling tool. Not that new, 4 years old, 5 years old now. But in this particular case, the designer is going to put a highlight line along his rear quarter. So you can subdivide these surfaces or these shapes, and you can then have that, again, see how there's a slider again, a new kind of user interface where there's a slider, and you can then have this line as firm or as soft as you want. You can have it be kind of rounded and kind of mushy like a clay, or you can have it very tight and very crisp. And there's a slider that runs up and down the curve, so you can also wash the curve out towards the rear or towards the front. Which again, these were developed together with some of our European auto customers, describing to us the way they design. You know, I want to put a highlight line on a car, but I want it to wash out as I go towards the door, towards the back, whatever. So we went ahead and added these kinds of functions to our software so that you can create a car body or a Class A shape. In this case, it's G2 continuity coming out of our Imagine Shape tool while you're still creating. So this was developed in partnership with one of our auto customers. So again, we've got some Imagine Shape running. I'm not sure you're going to have time to get into that deep of a demo, but if you're interested, we certainly can help you out with that. So we now integrate our ISOM tool, our full Class A surfacing tool, which has been in the market since the 80s and gives you the ability to do this all within CATIA. So I've got a little demo of our Class A of our ISOM tool to kind of go along the same theme of design like you think. So even in the Class A modeling area, we want to let you think naturally. So we've got a gapping tool we've created where you can create a gap. In this particular case, it's for a trim panel. And you can let that gap, you can parameterize the width of that gap. And you can also drag the curve that drives the gap and update that automatically. So you don't have to go back in and recreate the gap, remodel all the details. The software does it for you. Notice also that this is being designed with the rendering turned on. So you see the actual leather trim, and we've got some stitching, some styled stitching on there. And that stitching also is parametric, so you can change the width and the details on that stitching. In this next example, we're going to actually map an existing trim panel onto a different door. So again, a typical design situation is that you've got a trim panel, you've got a piece that you like from another car line, and you want to adopt it or adapt it to, let's say, the latest car design. So what actually one of our other colleagues, Gerard Elsini, kind of came up with this scenario from one of our customers here in town to be able to map that, in this case, trim panel to a new shape. So he's taken the Class A interior and he's created a pocket for that, and now he's going to let the computer map the old shape to the new shape. And notice that the curvature is different. This part curves one way, this part curves the other way. So the parts, it's not the same part, but again, we're letting the computer calculate so that, again, trying to do a design test the way you think. Hey, can I just like stick this thing on, take this trim panel, put it on this car, and can't we just kind of morph it on there? Well, that's what we can do now with our ISOM tools, is to let you map one feature onto another. Third example is a cup for, in this case, it's for a handle pull. And we're going to put that handle pull cup onto a door handle. So we've got this pull cup that we've designed parametrically, and we want to map it to a target surface. So once again, our Class A modeling tools allows you to take that pull cup and map it onto another part. And then go ahead and style it from there. He's going to put a styling fillet on it. We've got all sorts of options of how you can do all this. Again, Class A modeling. Turn on the rendering, and you can see what it looks like in real time. When you want to make a change, again, this is how you think. I want to slide that a little bit. Can I make it a little wider, a little fatter, a little shorter? So just slide it, move it around. And again, the computer does the work for you. So these are tools we've created to enhance productivity, to help you with your creativity, to help you innovate. Again, these are kind of little nitty-gritty details. While we're hearing all these great designs of the next level Mustang, at the same time, we still have to get the job done. So we're showing you some different tools and different things we have to help you achieve the kind of designs that you're looking for. All right. Excuse me. So we had some students at a university in France create a car, which we call the ISD car. It's the name of their university in France. And this is a little summary of how all these things come together, all these different options that are available to you using our shape tools for auto design. So we'll just take a quick run through of them all, and I already dove into a couple of the detailed ones. So we start with sketching, and they're the hard lines of the car, the main feature lines of the car. So again, we talked about CATIA ISOM, subdivision surfaces, which is our Imagine Shape modeling tool. So you can use these things together. It's an example of some emissive lighting. So when you're rendering, you saw big lighting studies from our previous presenter. So you can have that, you can let the computer do a tail lamp and have emissive lighting. Parametric surfaces, in this case a tire, which has got a repeating tread pattern, or a grill opening, where you can have a very detailed parametric model blended together with Class A modeling, so you can map a very complex grill shape onto a front fascia. Also detailed modeling here. So we can use styling fillets together with sub-D surfaces and create all the details of something like a headlamp structure, and at the same time come back and render it and see what it's going to look like from a styling standpoint. So here's another knowledgeware for grill, real quick. And starting to show some rendering here of the final design. Doing some engraving, mapping. You can map stickers onto these surfaces, labels, stickers, engravings. And again, you can use all these different tools interchangeably. And when you're ready to check out your design, oh man, that's really dark up there, isn't it? We use ray tracing to give you a photorealistic image. All right, so I've got a few more visualization examples. You can use visualization not just for styling and design, but also for engineering and for sales and marketing. Again, in the interest of time, we're not going to cover all these different uses. I'm just going to give you some quick videos, and then you can check it out yourself later on in the back of the room. I saw some of our participants playing with the rendering tools even here this morning, so it's very easy to use, and you'll enjoy checking it out. Again, one of the nice things about this tool is that you can flip very quickly from rendering mode to design mode. So you can design, you can render, see what it looks like, go back, design some more. So it's truly interactive, and it's available sort of as needed. You don't have to, there's no data translations. Here's an example of dropping different backgrounds. I think we can, again, you can have your car in any kind of an environment that you want. They're called HDRI backgrounds. If you guys are familiar with these things, you can download them from the internet. You can get the ones that are available from CATIA, or you can take your own with a 360-degree camera. So you can also make still images. So in addition to for using it interactively for design, you can use the tool to make still images, which could be used for a variety of purposes, including engineering studies, like how's the instrument cluster going to look when the sun's shining through the windshield. Here's another example of a lighting study. And interactive reviews on power walls, or you can get a diamond ring to give to your virtual girlfriend. So that's much cheaper than the real thing, but I'm not sure it'll be quite as impressive unless you have an avatar for a girlfriend. We'll give you one more video that shows how this all comes together. So here's another live example of a mirror design. So we start with a mirror, and we start designing the housing around the mirror. So we've got the mirror glass, and we've got the vehicle, and we start designing around it. So we start with our Imagine and Shape tool, and we start building that very, very fast, or ultra fast as we call it, modeler, which you can, again, rotate, push, pull, and get this design sort of, let's say, blocked in first. You can hollow it out, shell it, you might say, and then bring those, again, continue to design to match your glass. So again, you can see it's very intuitive, very fast, easy to use. And Paul O'Donovan is in the audience ready to demonstrate this for you anytime that if you want to see it later today. So we'll keep designing. We don't like it, we're going to stretch it, pull it. And this is connected right to the body panel. Again, we're going to turn on the rendering. So here we turn on our real-time ray tracing, or our interactive ray tracing, I should say. And you can see that you now see it in a design environment. We've got some just some white lights turned on, so we put on some fluorescent overhead lights so you can start to maybe see the definition of the surface a little more. Notice that the mirror is reflecting off of the mirror itself, is reflecting off the glass. So this is all calculated and ray traced accurately using physics. So we're going to, I think we threw a styling fillet on there just to see what it would look like, because he thought that the intersection maybe was too severe. I'm not sure exactly how you'd manufacture that, but he threw a styling fillet on there to see what that would look like. Again, turning on ray tracing on and off. So again, it's this interactive design. It's an interactive design session. It's getting all the tools that you need to be able to design like you think. Changing some continuities, G2, G3. Again, stretching it out. So again, you can just explore different concepts, and you can also store these in the model. So if you want to have 2 or 3 concepts in the same model, you can store and capture them in the same model if you want. In this particular case, he's just designing. Again, you use some Boolean logic, throw a hole in there. And I think we're going to see him also put a hard edge on the thing, using that tool I showed you a few minutes ago. So using a slider, you change the sharpness of that curve. Again, just to explore different design concepts. All right, so now you've got a design that you like. Say, I'm going to drop it in. Let's drop it in a more realistic outdoor view instead of a studio view. So you drop it in front of a courtyard. In this particular case, it happens to be the courtyard of our Paris headquarters. But again, very quickly, you can just drop that car out into a courtyard, see what it looks like in a different environment. Again, explore your design ideas, sell them to your management, sell them to the customer. We actually have some of our customers asking us to use these tools to do actual consumer testing, to do customer clinics, and have these tools available and actually be prepared to actually change the design at the direction of customers as a brainstorming session. So these tools are so easy to use and so fast that you can actually use them interactively in front of clients. All right, so with that, I will say that, again, thank you all for being customers of Dassault Systems. And I'm going to turn it over to Rainey. Are we not?
We're not. We'll do it. I'll stand back with Andre if anybody has some questions on composite materials or composite and whatever, we can just address it there.
So Rainey, our advanced composite specialist, will be working with Andre Clement at the design station to answer all your questions on advanced composites. Any questions for Phil? Questions on CATIA Isom? I know you were questioning that this morning. Any questions at all? If not,
so I already answered two questions. The guy who asked about whether CATIA was why that earlier presentation showed CATIA for engineering, CATIA for design, it looked like they were separated. So I answered that question to him personally, and I told him it's absolutely integrated together, and hopefully you could see that from my presentation, that indeed it is integrated together. And a question came up from the team from JCI who asked whether or not you can let the CATIA, whether you let a Class A surface be changed by the engineers. And I think the answer was no, never. Again, even though the tools are integrated together, the idea is to control that kind of change control or change permissions by your own company. Rather than having 6 different softwares and every group is in a silo using different software, just because you're using the same software doesn't mean that they have permission to change it. So you can control out the Class A surfacing or the styling areas so that only the stylists or the Class A modelers can change it, but the engineers can see it and review and mark up. So those are 2 questions that came up. I want to make sure everybody heard the answers to those 2 questions.
Additional questions for Phil? Right here.
So I think your question is, I mentioned that we've got some people inquiring about using our tools for consumer testing. And the answer, pardon me, the second part of the question was, have you finished that and gotten results from it yet? So the answer is no, we haven't. It's a proposal that's on the table from a customer. We haven't actually initiated that just yet. We are doing things like that. I know that some of our customers are using our rendering tools to create images, to send them off for consumer testing. And are sending them to the press, making images and sending them to the press for articles, these kinds of things. But I don't have an example at this point yet of a live consumer testing, but it's something we're working on for the future. Again, in the spirit of innovation, we're continuing to try to push the envelope to offer you to be able to do these kinds of things in the future.
Any other questions? If not,